Okay, Erev Tov Rabbi Say, as we have done in previous years, we are continuing with limud of the midos of each day of Sfiras Omer. As we pointed out over Yontif, Sfiras Omer is not simply a count of 49 days from Pesach until Shavuos. It is an opportunity, as the Aruch HaKodesh points out, Lashon Usfartim Lachem, Usfartim is Lashon Sapir V'Yahalom. It means to make ourselves better. The process of Sfiras Omer is slowly but surely transforming ourselves into people that are able to be mekabel the Torah. And as we mentioned over Yontif, Chazal tell us, Derech Eretz, Kadma la Torah. Before you can receive the Torah, you have to work on Derech Eretz, you have to work on your midos. And where it was in the days of Yetzias Mitzrayim, that the Jewish people were taken out of Egypt without being rolekach, without being worthy of it, so to speak. The same thing occurs every year. Pesach rolls around, and we are not worthy of the geula that Pesach offers for us. And that inspiration that comes down on Leil HaSeder comes down to schlep us out of whatever tsaros we're in, whatever Mitzrayim we're in, and then we have 49 days to work towards Matan Torah to be mekabel that, in order to be able to reclaim those madrigas ourselves. And we have so far counted the midas of chesed, שבחסד, and gevura שבחסד. And this evening we are, Be'ez Hashem, going to be arriving at the midah of teferet שבחסד. Now, while it's true that chesed and gevura, extrovertedness and discipline, are midos that people are somewhat more familiar with, the midah of teferet is already somewhat complex. It's not something that people necessarily understand intuitively. Because the mistake that a lot of Chavra make is that Midas HaTiferes doesn't mean the compromise between Chesed and Gevurah. Chesed meaning extrovertedness, kindness, giving, versus Gevurah, which is restriction and restraint and holding oneself back. It's not that you try, mash these two things together and come out with Tiferes, some kind of compromise, some gray in between black and white. That's not called Midas HaTiferes. Midas HaTiferes is the midah of harmony, which is much more than compromise. Because if you look at a musical composition, there are notes and there is silence between them. A composition is not the compromise between music and silence. It is the utilization of both notes and pauses in order to create something that is more beautiful than both of those things, which is why Midas HaTiferes is the midah of beauty. It is something which takes from both extremes and harmonizes them through the union of those two elements, which are in conflict with each other. The silence and the music are in conflict with each other. If you take a look at a beautiful piece of artwork, there are colors and there are shadows. There's light and there's dark. It's not the compromise of black and white that makes a beautiful painting. It is the usage of both light and dark, of both colors and shadows, that will create something that is more beautiful than would be able to be expressed by either of those two things. Which is why Chazal explained to us the midah of Rachamim is the midah of Tiferes, and the midah of Emes is the midah of Tiferes. A regal achas, just to explain this very, very briefly, because it's important to understand in the context of everything that we are talking about. If you have somebody that is a good boy, comes from a rough neighborhood, and makes a mistake, an intentional mistake, but a terrible error in judgment. You have a good boy that has a sick little brother, and a mother that's not making ends meet, and he goes and robs the convenience store in order to pay for his younger brother's medication. So, Al-Pi Din, the din is that he did the crime, he should do the top. That would be Midas HaDin. Midas HaChesed would be, don't worry about it, he's a sweet kid, you don't have to take care. Midas HaChesed. Neither of those two things would be true. The emes is that you should look at this boy's crime in the context of who he is, and what he's doing, and how he's living his life, and whether or not it is in the best interest of this boy and in the best interest of society to throw this kid in prison. That's called Midas HaEmes. What's the truth? meaning what's in the best interest of this kid and his family and the whole of society, that's called midas ha'emes, which is called midas harachamim. Midas harachamim sometimes means that you let him off the hook. Midas harachamim sometimes means that you make sure that he does a little bit of time. Midas harachamim sometimes means that you send him to do community service. That's called midas harachamim. And the midah of Tiferes Shebachesed is to recognize that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu does something that is midas ha'emes, that is midas ha'tiferes, that he is merachim on the brios, that is merachim on us, by not giving us the full dose of gvura, and also by not giving us a full dose of chesed. That all is there for the greater chesed, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to do chesed with us. He wants to make sure that we're not spoiled, that we don't end up rotten. And he wants to make sure that we develop ourselves appropriately. Which means that whether we are receiving something that we enjoy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or sometimes something that we don't so much enjoy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is to understand that no matter what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing for us, that is all to make us into better people. And that is the tiferes within chesed. Meaning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be mischased with us. He wants to be kind to us. But sometimes that kindness needs to be tempered. And sometimes the strictness of Hashem's judgment needs to be tempered. All of that is in order that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitchased with us. And that is appreciating the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through his attempts to make us more beautiful. Through his attempts to be, as the pasuk says, Yisrael asher b'chayis, that the Jewish people should be more beautiful, and in that we become greater and more harmonious and more unified and more elevated individuals. Through all of that, we recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed with us. That is ben adam lamakom, to realize that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing for us, sometimes we enjoy it, sometimes we don't. All of that is midas hachesed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu always wants to do chesed with us. And you make a bracha on this every morning, and tomorrow morning you should in particular have kavanah during this bracha. The bracha, Oteri Yisrael b'tifara, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu crowns the Jewish people with tiferes, with splendor, right? What does splendor mean? It means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu considered it to be his crowning joy in the world for the Jewish people to be successful. Yisrael, Asher B'cha Espire, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is made more beautiful in the world through the Jewish people. That's Oter Yisrael B'sif Ara. That's in the world of Ben Adam Le Makam. What about in the world of Ben Adam Le Chavera? So, when a Jew does chesed for another Jew, sometimes you get a shkoyach for that. Sometimes somebody will come along and say, wow, thank you so much, shkoyach. They give you tiferes. And there is a deep danger in a Jew receiving that tiferes and it being poigim in their chesed, meaning it messes up your chesed. Because sometimes we can train ourselves, chalila, that we only do things for the shkoyach. We only do things for the applause. We only do things for the Instagram likes and the Facebook shares and the tweets and the mazel tovs in the weekly, whatever it might be. It's possible that a Jew could get very excited about the shkoyach. And when you are excited about the shkoyach, Halila, what ends up happening is that is the opposite of the midah of Tiferes Shebachsed. Because there is Tiferes that exists within the midah of Chesed. There is great beauty and tremendous glory and an immense amount of emes and rachamim that all exists within the world of doing Chesed. But the essential midah of Tiferes Shebachsed is to receive that and then to give that to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that was the midah of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was able to be mekarev the whole world through transforming their tiferes into tiferes for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tiferes Shebachsed, Avraham Avinu is the week of midas HaChesed. Whenever anybody would come, they would say to Avraham Avinu, wow, I'm so hungry, I'm so thirsty, can I have something to eat, can I have something to drink? And Avraham Avinu would say, sure, come on in and have something to drink. They would say to him, wow, you're such a Baal Chesed, you're such a wonderful person. That's Tiferes Shebachsed. You get Tiferes as a result of being Baal Chesed. And Avraham Avinu would say, no, don't say thank you to me. say thank you to the Ribono Shel Olam. To the extent that the Kotzker used to say, I don't understand how it is that a person can say Birkas Hamazon, can bench without becoming a greater Mamin in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says that's the way that Avraham Avinu was Mekarev the whole world, was simply by telling them to say Birkas Hamazon. Avraham Avinu would lead the benching, and the whole world would frum out from it. It's like an amazing thing. He would say benching. He would say, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the food that we have eaten, and the whole world was transformed, because they gave Teferet to Avram, and Avram said, it's not for me, it's the Ribono Shel Olam. That's called the midah of Teferet Shebachesed. What about ben Adam la'atzmai? What about between you and yourself? So as we pointed out over Yantav, there is a deep need for a person to be mitchased with themselves. To be mitchased with themselves means to be kind to themselves. And the kindness that we give to ourselves has to be b'midas hatiferes. It has to be in a beautiful way. Sometimes there is a deep yetzara for a person to give themselves chesed shebachesed in the wrong way. Meaning that when you need to do some kindness with yourself, you do that as you know what, God will forgive me, it's okay, I can take a day off. No. Teferet shebachesed is that when a person needs to be kind to themselves, needs to give themselves chesed, it should be done in a way of Teferet. It should be done in a way that's very beautiful. That when you are kind to yourself, which is important, it's an essential midah, it should be done in a way that's not too much chesed and not too much gevura. It's done in a way that's beautiful. That when somebody looks at it, they go, that's the way that a Jew is supposed to treat themselves. Which means that you're supposed to walk around, and I said this to Chavra every year, when it comes to Chol Hamoed, a person should wear clothing that's befitting for a Jew to be wearing on a Yom Tov. It's a Chol Hamoed. To wear clothing, that's the din of Chol Hamoed. It shouldn't be quite big day Yom Tov, and it shouldn't be quite big day Chol. It should be something that's nice. That's by certain tzaddikim, they had three very distinct outfits. There's an outfit that you wear for Shabbos, and an outfit that's nicer that you wear for Yom Tov, and then an outfit that you wear for Chol Hamoed. It's three distinct outfits, and that's the midah of Teferet Shebachesed, to dress in a way that indicates that you're a Jew, that is celebrating. But this is not just the din of Chol Hamoed; it's the din all the time. That a Jew should dress and act and speak in a way that displays the fact that they are Jews of Tiferes Shebachesed. That we do Chesed in a beautiful way, and Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, to be continued tomorrow evening.